What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, as far as the market's going, we're trying to inch our way higher. SPY is testing some critical resistance at this 600 area, and we're going to see if we can break past this to go a bit higher. I do think it's possible we try to go a bit higher as long as this holds, as long as we're above 598. But we did get some negative news, and it's not really hurting the markets because we have some good news as well that's coming out. Let's talk about the news, and I'll break down more details about the charts. The first thing I just want to say is that there was some negative data that came out. Despite exports going up 4.8% in May in the US, the Chinese exports in particular to the US are down 34.5% compared to a year ago, right? We also saw imports dropping 18%. So, right now, trade between the US and China has hindered amidst the higher tariffs. Now, this is the reason why, although this news is like bad, there is good news coming out that, President Trump's team are going to be negotiating with China in London. They're going to be talking to many Chinese officials, and if they give us some big announcements about a deal or something good that comes out, that could be more bullish for the market, right? We have the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent. We have the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, and our Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer. We're going to represent the U.S. in these talks very, very soon. This is going to cause volatility, and if they announce a deal or some really, really good news, this could help the market try to go even higher. So it all depends on how that goes. If we get nothing from this, the market could sell off, but as of right now, there's no confirmation. We just have to wait and see what ends up happening. So that's the very, very big catalyst of the day right now. We're waiting to see what happens with the trade negotiations between the US and China. What happens as we start to see these important figures speak? Can we see lower rates on the tariffs? Will we see more delays? That's going to be very, very important. On top of this, okay, today is Monday, June 9th. We have wholesale inventories at 10 a.m. and consumer inflationary expectations at 11. Those are going to be some big factors, so keep that in mind. That may cause a little bit of volatility. Besides that, negotiations continue. There's been a lot of talk about Aapl intelligence, but keep in mind that the trade war affects Aapl. So, with everything that's going on, if we get a good deal with China, that could be bullish for Aapl. If we don't get a deal, not the best of Aapl. Aappl's very China dependent, so do not forget about that. And then besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy on the news. So keep that in mind, at least thus far. I'll talk more about earnings in my next video, but for now, I'm just going to skip over that. We're going to focus on what's happening with the chart right now. So I just want to say that SPY is technically bullish, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We're still bullish. To be bearish, you want to see SPY basically first. If we don't hold 598, I'm looking for a test of 596. That's going to be our 20 EMA. If we lose that, then yes, we could be dipping back down towards 591 or below. So please keep those levels in mind for SPY. That's what we're essentially looking out for, because that's going to be key for what we end up doing. So keep that level in mind, at least for the time being. Now, if you want to be bullish on SPY, you want to see us basically hold at least 598 and continue to hold above 600. Hold those two levels. Like 598 is like level 1 bullish. Hold above 600, that's level 2 bullish. And if we break that, we're going to be looking for a bigger push for like 602 or even above that if we could hold above 600. So please keep those levels in mind. Now, the way at which things are going, I would argue that we're doing a good job at holding up, and there is a lot of potential to continue. But you want to be watching to see what happens with the trade deals, what else ends up coming out, just for confirmation. Now, on SPY, we have a bearish divergence, which is something that's a little bit concerning to me. That doesn't guarantee anything. That just means that the higher we go, the riskier it becomes. So just be careful if you're trading longs or doing anything. Be a little bit careful with this market. For now, I am favoring upside. I think that we're trying to make higher highs and higher lows like this. So I think that we might consolidate and slowly push for like 602 to 605 and slowly try to ride this rising wedge up. Unless we lose 596 to start dumping, we're still favoring the upwards direction. On the QQQ is the same thing. The QQQ is also looking bullish. We're making higher highs and higher lows. If the QQQ loses 527, we're looking for a test of 525 or below. But so long as we hold this blue trend line, we're looking bullish. So we have the support here. We're bouncing, making higher highs and higher lows. And as long as we hold above 530, we're favoring an attempt to get back up to this high at 532 to 535. Now, if we lose this blue trend line, we start dumping below 525, we're looking for a dump back down. But as of right now, we're favoring 535 or above as we look bullish. On the IWM, we look a bit more bullish. We need to see it lose 211 to turn back down. As long as we're above that, we're actually favoring this inverse head and shoulders over here. A left shoulder, head and a right shoulder, favoring upside. And we're going to be looking for an attempt to get up to 217 next. As long as we don't end up losing to 11, we're favoring upside. ES is looking bullish, nice cup and handle. We want to see it break 6,025. If it does, we're looking for 6,050. If that breaks, we see a much bigger pump. It's going to be pumping very hard. If we lose 59.85, we're looking for a dip back down. It's about 59.57. For now, we're favoring upside for 6,025 to 6,015. We'll see how well we hold up. For NQ, we look bullish. If we lose 21,700, we're looking for a dip to 21,000. 588. As long as we hold support, we're favoring an attempt to get up to 22,000. So keep that in mind. For Bitcoin, we have an inverse head and shoulders. As long as we don't lose 107,000, we're favoring an attempt to get up to 108,000. Tesla's kind of weak right here. There's some bad news that came out as their fair value um, level has been decreased by an important analyst, and then simultaneously, one of their Optimus robot program directors may be leaving the company. But on top of all the bad news that came out last week and over the weekend, so we could be dipping to 285, and we'll see if that holds. If not, we're looking for 280. If we get below 280, I do expect us to make new lows to 268. So I do think the 280 to 285 area could be tested, and we'll see if we bounce off that to get back up to 300. So look for a small pullback, and we'll see if Tesla bounces off the key levels. Nvidia is looking bullish. As long as we don't lose 140, we're actually favoring 144. If that breaks, we're looking for 148. Aapl is also looking a bit more bullish. We're favoring 206. If that breaks, we're looking for 210. If we lose 202, we dump back down, but we're favoring 206 for now. For others out there, such as Palantir, we're looking pretty decent. We're making lower highs here, so we need to get back above 130 to continue. If we can't, we could be turning back down to 125. For Coinbase, we're also favoring a nice accumulation. If we end up losing 252, we're looking for a dump to fill this gap to 244. As long as we hold that, though, we're favoring the upwards direction for 262. Despite 262 being possible, we'll see if there's if there's a head and shoulders. Does that lead to a big rejection or not? So you want to be very careful. Yes, we could push to 262, but be careful because of the head and shoulders. Amazon has an inverse head and shoulders unless we end up losing 210 to be more bearish. We're favoring this 220 area. So we look bullish for now. As long as we're above 210, we're favoring 220. On Meta, we look bullish with an inverse head and shoulders. As long as we don't lose 683, we're favoring 700. As long as 700 holds, we could continue to push higher. If we can't hold above it, though, we're looking for 683 to be retested. Google looks bullish. So as long as we don't end up losing 172, we're favoring an attempt to go back up towards 178 to 180. Microsoft could be retesting 466, and we'll see if we bounce. Now it might be coming down a bit, so watch to see how we end up reacting from there. The VIX is technically gapping up, but keep in mind there's a big gap to fill right here. So we could be looking for a dip on the VIX, and that could be once again a good sign, at least, that the market's going to go higher. So there might be some more upside coming for the market looking at the current trend. But keep in mind, it also depends on how these trade negotiations go. So get ready for some volatility then. Don't forget about the economic calendar. This may cause a little bit of volatility as well. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for listening, guys. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and peace out.